troubles, toils, and sorrows o'er, their rise and persecution cease. O Lord, extend thine arms of love around the partner of my heart, for thou hast spoken from above, and called me from my altar far, and called me from my altar far. Preserve our souls in perfect peace from sickness, sorrow, grief, and pain, until our pilgrimage shall cease, and we once Zion's hill shall reign.
Dear, it's such a beautiful song, isn't it? Elder Parley P. Prout wrote those words. He was leaving on a mission, and he wanted his wife to know what he couldn't tell her face to face. Now, did you come to hear about Elder Pratt? No. You came to hear about my son, Joseph Smith Jr. And there is so much to tell. Well, you know he was a prophet, and is a prophet, like Moses and Abraham and Noah of old, called by God in these latter days to bring back the gospel. And that is just what he did. In a short space of just 20 years, he received the priesthood, he translated the Book of Mormon, he organized Christ Church throughout the world, and sent missionaries throughout the world to proclaim the gospel, and he led hundreds from New York to Ohio to Missouri and here to Illinois. But that is the Joseph you know already. I know him as his mother, a more devoted or affectionate child there never was. He was generous to a fault, and he was quick to laugh. He was a kind brother, a loving father, and a tender husband. That is what I should tell you about Joseph and Emma. He could not do all he did without her. Even as Joseph was raised up by God to be a prophet, so God also raised up Emma to be a helpmeet to him. And together, they faced the challenges of their lives as one, though they were often apart. I know now, just a moment. You know, we learned so much from what is left behind. Well, of course you know that. You're in Nauvoo, after all. These are so precious to me. They are so tender as they were. Do you know that once Joseph and Emma had a minor disagreement? As we all have. Well, Joseph couldn't go on. He couldn't translate the Book of Mormon until he was reconciled with Emma. And so he went out to the orchard to pray. And it wasn't a short prayer, mind you. He was on his knees for an hour.
Emma, I've been praying, and will you forgive me?
In the fall of 1832, Emma was pregnant with their fourth child. You know how difficult that time can be for an expectant mother. Joseph wrote to Emma from New York City.
My dear wife, This day I have been walking through the most splendid parts of the city. The thoughts of home, of you and Julia rush upon my mind like a flood. I could wish for a moment to be with you. I feel to say something to console you in your peculiar trial and the present affliction. I hope God will give you strength. I feel for you, for I know your state, and that others do not. But you must comfort yourself, knowing that God is your friend in heaven, and that you have one true and living friend here on the earth, your husband, Joseph Smith, Jr.
Isn't that lovely? Emma was equally a true friend and devoted companion to Joseph. In fact, when her father, Mr. Hale, refused my son's request for her hand, twice, no less, Emma agreed to marry Joseph anyway. That was Emma. She was strong, determined, and very faithful. When tensions in Kirtland forced Joseph to leave temporarily, Emma wrote to him.
Dear Joseph, I cannot tell you my feelings when I found I could not see you before you left. And the children feel very anxious about you because they don't know where you have gone. I verily feel that if I had no more confidence in God than some I could name, I should be in a sad case indeed. But I still believe that if we are as faithful as we can be, we shall be delivered from every snare.
And there were snares aplenty. Perhaps the most difficult trial Joseph ever faced was his unjust incarceration in Liberty Jail. The irony of that name. Confined through a bitter winter, without even basic necessities, Joseph was powerless to assist Emma or the other saints who were driven out of Missouri. With their children clinging to her skirts, and Joseph's papers tied in sacks to her waist, Emma crossed the frozen Mississippi alone. But they were together in their letters. And this is one you must hear. It's dated November the 4th, 1838.
My dear and beloved companion in tribulation and affliction, I would inform you that I am well, and we are all of us in good spirits. We arrived here, we've been protected by the Jackson County boys in a most genteel manner, and arrived here in the midst of a splendid parade.
Humorous despite affliction.
What God may do for us, I do not know, but I hope for the best. Though I go into death, I will trust in him.
Dear husband, I shall not attempt to write my feelings all together for the situation in which you are. The walls, bars, and bolts. The rolling rivers, the running streams, the rising hills and sinking valleys that separate us, and the cruel injustice that first cast you into prison and still holds you there.
I can only pray for deliverance until it is meted out and take everything as it comes with patience and with fortitude. God, grant that I may have the privilege of seeing once more my lovely family. Tell the children that I am alive and that it is well with their father as yet. Tell little Joseph he must be a good boy. And tell Frederick father loves him with all his heart, and tell Julia all the rest that they are on my mind continually.
We are all well at present, except Frederick, who is quite sick. Little Alexander, he is one of the finest fellows you ever saw in your life. Oh, he is so strong that with the assistance of a chair, he will run all around the room. Oh, I have many more things I would like to write.
Oh, Emma, if God will spare my life just once more to have the privilege of taking care of you, I will ease your care and endeavor to comfort your heart. Do not forsake me or the truth. If we do not meet again in this life, may God grant we meet in heaven.
No one but God. knows the reflections of my mind and the feelings of my heart. When I left our house and home and almost all we possessed except our little children, and took my journey out of the state of Missouri, leaving you shut up in that lonesome prison. All the recollections more than human nature ought to bear.
If you want to know how much I want to see you, examine your own feelings, how much you want to see me. I would gladly walk from here to you, barefooted, bareheaded, and half naked, and consider it a great pleasure. Oh, I feel like Joseph of Egypt. Doth my family yet live? If they live, have they regard for me? Do they remember me? If so, let me know it.
Yes, Joseph, I still live, and am yet willing to suffer more, if it is the will of kind heaven that I should for your sake. Oh, but I hope there are better days to come to us yet.
I have never seen a woman in my life who would endure every species of fatigue and hardship from month to month and from year to year with the unflinching courage, zeal, and patience which Emma has ever done. Joseph was greatly blessed in his choice of a wife. Well, better days did come to Joseph and Emma, and to us all. Joseph escaped from his captors in the spring of 1839, and he led us to a swampy bend of the Mississippi, and here we established this fine city. He named it Nauvoo, a Hebrew word meaning
Beautiful place.
now we call it the city of Joseph in his honor. The city thrived with the influx of new converts. Joseph often preached in the grove on Sundays, and we all were strengthened and instructed by his words. There were family times too, reading scriptures together at the end of the day, playing with the children, chopping wood for me. Joseph was always attentive to my needs, even more so after his father, my cherished companion, Joseph Sr., passed away. Forgive my wool gathering. Joseph had to spend quite a lot of time in hiding out to avoid being illegally arrested and taken back to Missouri.
My dear wife, I embrace this opportunity this morning to express to you some of my feelings. First of all, I take the liberty to tender you my sincere thanks for the two interesting and consoling visits you made me in my almost exiled situation. Tongue cannot express the gratitude of my heart for the true and warm-hearted friendship you manifested toward me. Last night, Brother Hiram and some others came to visit me. They think I would be a little safer at a distance off for the time being. But if I go to the Pine Country, you shall come with me, for I am not willing to trust you in the arms of those who cannot feel the same interest for you that I feel. I think if I could have the respite of about 6 months with my family, it would be a savor of life unto life. Nevertheless, if it were possible, I would like to live here in peace.
Dear husband, I am ready to go with you if you are obliged to leave. I shall make the best arrangements I can, and to be as well prepared as possible.
Tell the children it is well with their father, and that he remains in fervent prayer for the safety of himself and for you and for them. Tell Mother Smith it shall be well with her son, whether in this life or the next, for thus saith the Lord God. Tell Hiram to be sure and not fail to carry out my instructions. Yours in haste, your beloved and loving husband till death. From now, for eternity, and forevermore, Joseph Smith.
Hiram says he will go with me, but still I feel good confidence that you can be protected without leaving this vicinity. If it is pleasant weather, I shall contrive to see you this evening, but I dare not run too much of a risk. Yours, affectionately, forever, Emma Smith.
Even though Joseph had to be ready to hide at a moment's notice, all was not somber. In fact, Joseph and Emma celebrated their 16th wedding anniversary by hosting a delightful party. And shortly thereafter, they moved into the mansion house, which I suppose you've seen. Oh, it's a graceful white placard on the corner of Water and Main Streets. Those were happy times. But the forces of darkness would not leave my prophet son alone. In the summer of 1844, with antagonism raised to a fever pitch, Joseph and Hiram were summoned to Carthage and put into jail. He'd been behind bars before, always unjustly, but this time was different. On the morning of June 27th, 1844, Joseph wrote to his wife from Carthage jail.
Dear Emma, I am very much resigned to my lot, knowing I am justified. I've done the best that could be done. Give my love to children and to all of my friends. May God bless you all. Amen.
You have heard, I'm sure, the events of that fateful day. The mob that stormed the jail. The brothers slain. My sons. The prophet and the patriarch. Joseph could not deny what he knew to be true, nor would I have ever wanted him to. I still see him, that fair-haired boy of 14. Conviction I will never doubt. I can hear his voice even now. I had actually seen a light. And in the midst
of that light, I saw two personages, and they did, in reality, speak to me. And though I had been hated and persecuted for saying I had seen a vision, yet it is true. I knew it, and I knew that God knew it. And I cannot deny it.
Nor would Emma ever deny it. Though they were often separated by circumstances, their hearts were ever one.
How I wept when I learned you would never again in this life come home to us, to me, and to our children. Oh, in your stead, Brother Green came. He blessed me with peace, protection, and resignation. But when I asked him why you were taken from us, he could only assure me that the sorrow I bore would be the crown of my life. Oh, Joseph, what does he know? It is not the sorrow of your loss. You, my dear husband, you are my crown.
How glorious were my feelings when on the night of the 11th of August, 1842, in my exile, once more took by the hand my beloved Emma, the wife of my youth, and the choice of my heart. Many were the thoughts as I contemplated for the moment the many scenes we had been called to pass through, the fatigues, the toils, the sorrows, sufferings, the joys and consolations. What commingling of thoughts filled my mind for the moment again. Again, she is here, even in the seventh trouble, daunted, firm and unwavering, unchangeable,